All right, so today we're going to continue our lesson on simplifying radicals, except we're going to add variables. Now, in order to understand how to do this with variables, we need to understand how to do problems with numbers. So, there are two review problems here. My challenge to you is to see if you can find the largest perfect square that goes into each of these numbers and do these problems in one step. It's okay if you have to do them in more than one, but see if you can do it. Try to do it in one step. So stop the video and try these two problems. All right, so you should have gotten 6 square root of 5 for the first one and negative 30 square root of 6 for the second one. If you didn't get those, go ahead and look at the number you have inside the radicand and see if there's a perfect square that still goes into it, right? So the idea here is to pull out the biggest perfect square that you can, or keep pulling out perfect squares until you can't pull out perfect squares anymore. So if you didn't do it in one step, that's okay, but you could have started this one here. If you didn't pull out 36, you could have pulled out like a 9 to start with and then a 4. Here, you could have started with a 9, or you could have started with a 100. I think you could have started with a 25. You could have also started with a 36. There's many things you could have started with. There are lots of perfect squares that go here, but the biggest one is 900. And I thought through it because I knew 100 went into it, and I knew 9 went into 54, and that's a perfect square. So that's how I ended up getting the biggest one. So let's go take a look now at the variables. So when you're dealing with variables, I want you to think through, with these right here, which one of these could we rewrite as a product of the same two factors? Like, for example, if I have the number 36, we can write that as 6 times 6. And if I have the number 100, I can write that as 10 times 10. So take a moment to stop the video and just look at these and think, which ones can I just write out of the same two factors? Okay, so I went ahead and circled the ones that we could do that with. So reminder, like x squared, I could rewrite as x times x, right? Because x times x is x squared. And x to the fourth I could rewrite as x to the second times x to the second. Because remember, we add exponents when multiplying factors with the same base. X to the sixth, I could write that as x to the third times x to the third. X to the eighth could be x to the fourth times x to the fourth. X to the 10th could be x to the 5th times x to the 5th, right? So we could conclude here that anything with a even exponent could be considered a perfect square, right? So my conclusion here is variables with even exponents are perfect squares. Now the reason for that is because when we're multiplying terms with the same base, we add the exponents, right? So if we're adding the same two numbers together, we're always going to get an even number there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next set of problems. So now if I'm asking you to find the square roots of terms with variables, any even one is a perfect square. So let's just take a look at several of the evens, right? So x squared, the square root of x squared would just be x, right? Because x times x is x squared, right? Just like the square root of 9 is 3, because 3 times 3 is 9, right? The square root of x to the fourth is just going to be x to the second. The square root of x to the sixth is just going to be x to the third. The square root of x to the eighth is just going to be x to the fourth. And the square root of x to the 10th is just going to be x to the 5th. So basically, when we're finding the square roots of variables with exponents, you're just dividing the exponent by 2. Now, however, that doesn't work for odds, right? So we got to think through, how do we get these odd numbers? So let's take a look at x to the third, right? Think about, well, what perfect square goes into x to the third? Well, we just determined x to the second is a perfect square, right? So can't I rewrite this as x to the second times x, right? Because if you add the exponents, that is equal to x to the third. Well then, x to the second is a perfect square. So the square root of x to the second can come out, that's x, and then we're left with the square root of x inside. Let's take a look at x to the fifth. The closest, the biggest perfect square that goes into x to the fifth is x to the fourth, right? So I can break that into x to the fourth times x. And we know the square root of x to the fourth is x to the second. So that can come out, and you're left with the square root of x on the inside. If you think you get it, go ahead and stop the video and try, and then come back and see if you're doing it right. If you need some more help, let's keep talking. X to the 7th, the closest perfect square to x to the 7th would be x to the 6th. So we'd break that into x to the 6 times x. The square root of x to the 6 is x to the 3rd. So this answer is x to the 3rd, square root of x. The next one, x to the 9th, we would break that into x to the 8th times x, and the square root of x to the 8th is x to the 4th. So you'd get x to the 4th, square root of x. Now if you're paying really close attention, you should start to notice all of the odd ones. What is the radical? Always, always. You always have one left over. You always have one left over because these exponents are odd. They're odd because you have one more than you do to have an even number, right? So you're always going to leave one on the inside and take half of the even number right before it and put it on the outside, right? So if you think through x to the 11th, well, that would be x to the 10th times x to the 1st, and x to the 10th, the square root of x to the 10th is x to the 5th. So this next one's going to be x to the 5th, square root of x. So let's do some that aren't in order. Starting with the first one, the square root of x to the 18th, well, that's an even number, right? So the square root of that would be x to the 9th, because x to the 9th times x to the 9th is x to the 18th, right? So you're just taking half of the exponent. However, the next one, x to the 25th, well, that's an odd number, so I have to leave one on the inside and take out half of what's left. Well, half of what would be left would be x to the 24th, right? Because you just take one away from 25, and then you have an even number. So x to the 24th, half of 24 is 12, so it would just be x to the 12th on the outside, square root of x. Go ahead now, stop the video. Try the next, finish these problems, and then chime back in, see if you got them right. All right, there you go. So just notice any of your odd exponents that you had, you always have one left over. That stays on the inside. If you have an even exponent, you just divide them by 2. That's all you have to do. Divide the exponent by 2. If it's not divisible by 2, you leave 1 on the inside and take half of the number before it. So let's try a few that have multiple variables, right? If you take a look at number 1, well, let's look at each variable. You've got x to the 4th and y to the 8th. Look at the exponents. Both of those exponents are even, right? So the square root of x to the 4th is going to be x to the 2nd. That's a perfect square, so it comes out. And the square root of y to the 8th is going to be y to the 4th, so that comes out. And since everything came out of the radical, you have nothing left on the inside of the radical. Number 2, what I immediately try to do with these is pull out my perfect squares, and then I go from there, right? So x to the 18th, that's a perfect square because it has an even exponent. So that becomes x to the 9th. And then what's left on the inside is just a y. That has to stay on the inside. It doesn't have an exponent on it. So it would be an odd exponent. You can't pull out just a y because you don't know what it is, right? So this is x to the 9th and y. The next one, notice it has a negative sign. I'm going to put that answer down here. It has a negative sign on the outside. I'm immediately going to pull out the x to the 16th, and I'm going to make that x to the 8th, right? Remember, if you take something out, you have to change it, right? You find the square root of it. The z is definitely going to stay inside. The y to the 5th, because it's odd, I'm just going to break that into y to the 4th times y. And then we have this random z there. So now the y to the 4th has to come out to become y to the 2nd. So I get negative x to the 8th, y to the 2nd, square root of y, z. Now stop the video and try the next two on your own. So there you go. In number 4, I got negative 8x to the 10th, y to the 12th, square root of y. And then in the next one, I got x to the 15th, y to the 21st, square root of xz. So again, reminder, I try to organize my work so that I pull out my perfect squares immediately, the square roots of my perfect squares, and then I break up what's left on the inside and go there. It's just a way of organizing your work. All right, so now let's try some that have numbers and variables. Before you do that, go ahead and write down your perfect squares to help you. So stop the video and do that. All right, so we have our perfect squares up there to help us. Again, when I do a problem like this, I have multiple things going on. I have 3 things to look at in this first problem. What I'm going to do first is I'm just going to immediately pull out my perfect squares, right? 25 is a perfect square. The square root of 25 is 5, so that comes out of the symbol. The square root of 42 is a perfect square because it has an even exponent. So I take half of it, it's y to the 21st. So what I have left on the inside is an odd one. So the odd one, I'm going to break into x to the 30th times x, because I leave the odd guy in. And now I take half of the even guy, which is going to be x to the 15th. So I like to put things in alphabetical order, so I'm going to write it as 5x to the 15th, y to the 21st, square root of x. It's okay if you don't put it in alphabetical order. It doesn't matter which variable comes first, but do put the coefficient in the front. So let's take a look at the next one. So the next one, I'm going to immediately look. 121 is a perfect square. P to the 100th is a perfect square. J to the 212th is a perfect square. So now remember, numbers and exponents are treated differently, right? The square root of 121 is 11. The square root of p to the 100th is p to the 50th, because you divide the exponent by 2. J to the 212th, well, that's going to become j to the 106th. Then what's left on the inside is this odd exponent of k to the 15th, which I'm going to make k to the 14th times k, and I'm going to pull out the square root of k to the 14th, which is going to give me k to the 7th. So I'm going to get 11, k to the 7th, j to the 106th, and p to the 50th. I think I got those in alphabetical order. Again, it doesn't matter what order you put the variables in. Okay? All right, so now let's look at number 8. Number 8, 60 is not a perfect square. I'm not going to pull that out yet. I'm not going to do anything with that yet. I'm going to pull out the x to the 4th because even exponent, y to the 2nd, even exponent. So let's start by pulling those guys out. The square root of x to the 4th is x to the 2nd. The square root of y to the 2nd is y. Then what's left on the inside is the square root of 60. Now 60, we want to figure out perfect squares that go into 60. So we would play around with that. I'm pretty sure 4 goes into it 15 times. So I'm going to break that into 4 times 15. And then just like I would do with regular numbers, as I pull out the square root of 4, which is 2. So I end up with 2 x squared y square root of 15. All right, let's take a look at the next set. If you think you have it, then you should stop the video and just continue trying problems and then just tune back into the video and see if you've got it. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through 2 more. All right, so number 9, I'm going to do 48 is not a perfect square, m to the 5th is not a perfect square, neither is n, but p to the 4th is. So I'm just going to start by pulling out the square root of p to the 4th. Notice there's a negative sign out front. Don't lose that negative sign. So I'm going to start out with negative p to the 2nd. And now all of my non-perfect squares, I'm going to try to break them up, right? So 48 is divisible by 4. It's also divisible by 16. And 16 is the bigger one. So I'm going to start by doing 16 times 3, because 16 times 3 is 48. M to the 5th, I'm going to break into m to the 4th times m. And then the n, I can't break that into anything. So now I'm going to pull out my perfect squares. I'm going to pull out m to the 4th. I'm going to pull out 16. The square root of 16 is 4. All of this stuff right here, it's negative. I'm going to write my 4 first. Negative p, and then the square root of m to the 4th. I'm sorry, I said negative p. It should be negative 4. The square root of m to the 4th is m to the 2nd. You've got this p to the 2nd there. And then what's left on the inside are the things I did not circle. The 3, the m, and the n. Okay, let's try one more together. Number 20, not a perfect square. K to the 15th, none of these are perfect squares, looking at them. So they have all odd exponents, and 20 is not a perfect square. So let's just start by breaking the stuff up, right? So everything's going to have to get broken up. 20 could get broken up into 4 times 5, where 4 is my perfect square. So you can go ahead and circle it if you want. K to the 15th can get broken up into k to the 14th times k. K to the 14th is my perfect square. P to the 45th could be broken up into p to the 44th times p. J to the 81st can be broken up into j to the 80th times j, right? So now all my perfect squares are my variables that have even exponents and my perfect square that went into 20. So I'm going to pull out my perfect square. So the square root of 4 is 2. K to the 14th would be k to the 7th. Square root of p to the 44th is p to the 22nd, j to the 40th. And then what's left on the inside is a 5, a k, a p, and a j. And that is your crazy long, ridiculous answer. So now I really do want you to stop the video and try to continue with the next problem. Tune and see if you've got it right. So there you go. This one started off with 3 perfect squares that I immediately pulled out, and then I broke up k to the 15th, and then I got my answer here. Again, it doesn't matter what order your variables go in. I was trying to put them up at a quarter. All right, let's keep going. Now to just double check to make sure that you 100% have it, finish the rest of these problems on your own. So stop the video, do it, tune back in. The answers will be here for you. Okay, there are your answers. I want to point out on number 16, notice in number 16, I immediately circled x to the 500 and y to the 36 because I knew those were perfect squares. I did not know that 576 was a perfect square because that's not one that I have memorized. But when I went to go break it up, I noticed I could break it up into 4 times 144. Since both those numbers are perfect squares, they both can come out. So when I got 24 by doing the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 144 is 12, and 2 times 12 is 24. So that's how I got that there. Again, any of these, if your number left inside the radicand is bigger than mine, look at your number and just see, is there a perfect square that goes into it? Okay? If you're struggling with this, please make sure you ask. Good luck on the rest.